Unlock the power of modal verbs for advice. Hello, language enthusiasts. Welcome back to our series on English language learning. Today, we're going to explore a fascinating part of the English grammar: modal verbs for advice. These are the words that can transform a simple suggestion into a compelling piece of advice. So, buckle up, grab a pen and paper, and let's get started. Modal verbs are helper verbs that express possibility, necessity, permission, and, you guessed it, advice. The most common modal verbs used to give advice in English are should, ought to, and had better. 1. Should. This is the most common and general way to give advice. 2. Example: you should study every day. 3. Ought to. This is a little more formal than should, but it means almost the same thing. It is not as commonly used in spoken English. 4. Example: you ought to tell her the truth. 5. Had better. This is used when the advice is strong, and there might be negative consequences if not followed. 6. Example: you had better pay your bills on time. Now that we've got the basics covered, let's move on to some fun practice exercises. It's time to put our learning into practice. Your task is to create your own sentences using should, ought to, and had better. Remember, the key to mastering any language is practice. Here are some prompts to help you get started. 1. Giving advice about health. 2. Advising a friend who is always late. 3. Advice for someone starting a new job. 4. How to deal with a difficult situation. 5. Suggestions for a good study routine. Take a few minutes, write your sentences, and then we'll review some examples together. How did you go with that exercise? Let's take a look at some possible sentences you could have come up with. 1. You should eat more vegetables and exercise regularly for better health. 2. You had better start getting ready earlier if you don't want to be late again. 3. You ought to arrive early, dress professionally, and show enthusiasm when starting a new job. 4. You should try to remain calm and think clearly when dealing with a difficult situation. 5. You had better set a study schedule and stick to it if you want to pass the exams. That's all for today's lesson on modal verbs for advice. I hope you found these practice exercises helpful and fun. Remember, English, like any other language, requires constant practice. So keep practicing, and you'll see improvement in no time. Until next time, happy learning!